it's going. I'll cool my heels and start slowing. I learned to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to live with what's next. What if in my best guess? The kind of when it surprises. I'm learning to live with what's next. Here's a clear space that I've chosen, where the denseness of this world opens, where there's something holding steady and true, regardless of me or you. I'm learning to live with the high stakes, befriending my mistakes. Lay my hand where my heart aches. I'm learning to live with high stakes. Here's a clear space that I've chosen, where the denseness of this world opens, where there's something holding steady and true, regardless of me or you. Takes time, ribbon across some finish line. Stop feeling I'm always a day behind. I'm learning to live with what takes time. I'm learning to sit with not knowing, when I don't see where it's going. Start slowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing.
Good morning. Learning to sit without knowing. That is so freeing. So freeing to be in that place. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Welcome. We have a couple here that has recently moved to Citrus County, and we just want to welcome them. Would you mind standing up so we can just welcome you to our community? David and Karen, thank you. Thank you. We've had a little phone relationship for a little while, and they have been really supportive about watching us on YouTube and Facebook, and now they're with us. How exciting. Yay! So before I begin today, I have a little boo-boo in my eye. That's because I have a little infection, but I can see you. So it's all well. Welcome, Facebook family and YouTube family. It's so good to have you with us as well. The sanctuary looks so beautiful just because you are here. You bring the light, you bring the love, you bring the joy, and it's always my joy to be here with you. So Before we open up in prayer, I want to share with you that we have two congregants that I would love for you to begin to send some healing energy to. Barb Staub is in the hospital and she's having a procedure done today, and so we want to send her lots and lots of our love. And then our treasurer, Lee Cooper, will be also undergoing surgery next week. So we're a family, right? We want to kind of remember them as we enfold them in our love and surround them with light and healing energy, and know that we will see them here soon, fully restored and well, and we can celebrate their recovery. So I invite you now to gently close your eyes if it feels good for you. Take a deep breath with me. And bring your attention totally to this present moment. Be here now. There's nothing else more important than this present moment. Leave behind any concerns or worries, and celebrate in your heart the opportunity to be together, giving thanks for this beautiful day and for each other, allowing the love that is in our hearts to spill out into the sanctuary and beyond. Spill out way to where Barb is right now. We see her enfolded in this love, this healing love. We see her well, fully restored, and back with us very quickly. And we send the same love that is spilling from our hearts to our beloved Lee. See him at peace and comforted, knowing that all things are in divine order, unfolding for his and greatest good. And we send this love to each other with hearts full of gratitude, in knowing a very profound truth that where we are, God is. Where we are, God is. The very ground of our being. And so we take all of that in as we move to our moments together, knowing that we have come here by divine appointment and that we will leave renewed and refreshed. So with open hearts and open minds, we are ready to receive. And as we receive, we know that we can give. So thank you to this benevolent presence that is always with us. Thank you, God. And so it is. So would you say with me our affirmation of oneness? There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Namaste.
Blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Good morning. It's so wonderful to see everybody in here today. And it's also wonderful to know all those folks that are watching us. So this is the moment to fully surrender to our highest good. So this is the time for meditation. So I invite you to sit comfortably in a way that allows you to feel both alert and relaxed. Close your outside eyes and open your inside eyes to explore your inner presence. With each breath you take, consciously enter your body temple, giving your body anything that it might need, some healing energy. Send some energy to every part of your body. Surrender thinking and focus on breathing again and again, inviting that sacred present moment of truth. As you relax your body, bring a smile to your mouth. Allow this smile to travel to your heart, and imagine this smile radiating tenderness, harmonizing your heart, body, and mind. An inner hug. Breathe a smile in and breathe a smile out. You visualize yourself and you send compassion, tenderness, and healing energy. You silently whisper phrases of loving kindness, being an inner presence, an inner witness to what is truly alive in you today that needs to be celebrated. Whispering affirmations. I am peace. I am wonder. I am love. I am open and I am wise. Now, in the silence, just listen with a loving presence. Listen with an openness, a sacred container of love. So in the silence, just listen. We truly, truly celebrate that whatever we need is already inside of us. So gradually, we return to this present moment, affirming our oneness in strength, life, love, wisdom, and harmony. Our inner life declares a knowing that we are all part of the whole. We extend our loving kindness to all those that are present with us today. And we know as we do this, we are sending out healing energy to all those that are not present with us. And this wonderful healing energy radiates around our world. we embrace everything with a sacredness of oneness. So gradually return with one more breath and feel expansive and filled with wonder. Namaste.
Thank you, Annie. That was beautiful. Thank you. So very healing and soothing. So, we continue this Sunday, our third Sunday on our series of See No Strangers, based on the book by Valerie Carr, See No Strangers, a memoir and about revolutionary love. And she describes this revolutionary love as our ability to begin to wonder and labor for one another. Sweet, sweet labor. In ways that will heal and transform the world. And she challenges us not just to love ourselves sometimes, isn't it? Yeah. But also to love others, and even more to love those that are our adversaries. Some of us will probably call our enemy. And as I've told you, Carr, she's of the Sikh faith. And she uses her teachings of awareness to see that a stranger is a part of us that we do not yet know. That guides her in our ability to become an agent of revolutionary love. And that awareness that she has really aligns with the Buddhist teaching of universal compassion, or the teachings of Christianity where Jesus said, love one another. And unity teaches that we are one. So what happens to one affects all of us. So the first Sunday we talked about wonder. And we said that wonder is a great ability to be able to try to know someone else. Try to open your mind and your heart and wonder about someone. Ask questions so that you're not making assumptions and you're not making judgments. And we find that the more that we know someone, the less of a stranger they become. And the more that we are able to know how to love them. And that is so true. And then the second week, last Sunday, we spoke about grieving with one another. And we discovered that, that we can grieve with those that are strangers as well. As a matter of fact, when we choose to do that, we're allowing ourselves to offer empathy and compassion to them, and maybe even the great possibility of breaking down the barriers that separate us and allowing us to make meaningful connections. And so today, the topic is a topic that perhaps you're not familiar with, and it's anger. Has anybody here never had anger before? Oh, no one, right? Well, actually, she calls that chapter rage, which is really intense anger. And there's so much of that in our world today. Won't you think that? There is this intense anger, this rage over the pandemic, the disruptions that the pandemic experience has brought into our lives. We can't be with our loved ones the way we chose to be. We can't travel, we can't hug, we can't do those things. And somewhere inside there is this fiery, I am done with this, a little bit of anger. And then there is the rage that has been generational over discriminatory practices and the loss of unnecessary loss of life. As we celebrate this month of Black History Month, how many young men and women have to die unnecessarily? And so there is this underlying anger there. There's even anger, believe it or not, some people have anger with God because they see God as this entity up there that is going to come down and fix everything. Why hasn't he done it? And so there is anger in that way. There's a rage. There's an underlying condition that's keeping us from being agents of revolutionary love. And usually what typically makes this intense anger real is this feeling of powerlessness. When you feel powerless, then there's a sense, you generate the sense of anger, this emotion within you. And the problem is not that you can't have anger. The problem is that we don't know how to process it. We don't know how, what we do is we repress it. And what happens, it causes all kind of havoc in your relationships, in your personal life, because we don't know how to deal with it. And so we repress it. And so because we know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and part of our journey is to return to wholeness, then it is necessary for us to learn how to bring the shadow of rage, its anger that wreaks all this havoc in our lives and in our world, bring it out to the light. Bring it out into the light. Embrace it. Know that it is not a bad emotion. It's nothing bad. It's just that we don't know how to channel it. We don't know how to transform it into life-giving energy. And so this is perhaps the most difficult part of our journey. How do we do this? How do I go back maybe layers and layers of anger that is now bubbling as rage within me? How do I go back? You know, we always teach what we need to learn, right? We always teach what we need to learn. Because I know that this week I found myself overwhelmed with intense feelings. And I realized that I was angry. And I was lashing out. And I realized that it was showing up in my body. Everything was aching in my body. And I realized, wow, I need to, this lesson is for me. Hello, what a surprise, right? But we teach what we need to know. And I know that if it's for me, it's also as well for you, because we are one. We are one. So, what we need to, or our desire should be to, let's examine this. How can we deal with these feelings that we are feeling that are quite destructive if we don't? Destructive to ourselves and destructive to others. Many women, in particular, we've been taught to repress our anger. I don't know if the ladies in this room can relate, but when I was a young girl, if you were a good girl, you were good, you know, what a nice little good girl you are, you would subdue your anger. You would not show it. Not because it was inappropriate, but because we were taught that rage is the opposite of love. And I wanted to love. I wanted to be that. So whenever anger would come, it would get repressed. But Carr says that rage is not the opposite of love. Indifference is. Take that in. Rage is not the opposite of love. Indifference is. Carr says that love engages all of our emotions. Joy being the gift of love, and grief being the price that we pay for love, and anger being the force that protects what is loved. And we cannot access the depth of loving ourselves, never mind loving others, without acknowledging that emotion, that anger that is within us, perhaps even a rage that is within us. When Carr was a teenager, she was molested by her cousin. And the very next day, she went and she confronted him, and she said, what you did was wrong. What you did hurt me. And she was met with tearful regrets. And you know what she winded up doing? She winded up consoling him, burying her rage, burying her anger, because she wanted to be a good girl. Years later, It says that she was asked, she was about to go into graduate Harvard Divinity School and do her graduate studies there. And a good friend with whom she had worked with as an activist asked her to be a legal observer at one of the protests that they were having during one of the conventions. I can't remember if it was Republican or Democrat. That doesn't matter. It was a convention. And so she says, yeah, I'll go, and no problem. I've done this before. She had done it in California, and this was happening in New York, and she said, no problem. She knew that her role was to go and monitor she was going to watch what was going on. She was going to record and report any unlawful or improper behavior, both from the people that were there or from the law enforcement people. And then, so she went, she said, okay, I'll do this. And she grabs her badge and she puts it on, and on her badge it says, Legal Observer, National Lawyers Guild. And she goes and she stands in a corner with her camera, and almost immediately she got caught up in this sweep of arrest. They say that on that day, almost 1,800 people were arrested. Her ID was totally ignored, even though she kept saying, I'm just a legal observer, which is legal. But nope, it was ignored. Her camera was tossed to the side, thrown to the ground, and shattered. And she was handcuffed with these plastic strap ties and put into a van along with others and go into a detention center. And the straps were really, really, really tight. She remembers that shame, that disrespect that she felt. But more importantly, she remembered the pain that she was experiencing in her wrist, because after a while, she couldn't feel her hands anymore. And she tried to tell them, I can't, please loosen these straps. And finally, one of the lieutenants comes over, and she tells him, I can't feel my hands. And he walks around back of her and tightens them even more. She said, I thought my hands had fallen off. Pain shot up into the base of my skull. See, she's fine. See, she's fine. Those were the last words that I heard before the world went black. She says that when she woke up, there was yelling and confusion all around her. And the straps had been removed. She had purple gashes on her wrist and on her hands, and she couldn't feel anything. She just saw them. She had lost sensation in her hands altogether. She hears the lieutenant that had tightened the straps on her say to the others, take her away. And they did. They took her to headquarters along with others, and they booked her, and she remembers being herded down the hallway, chained with other detainees, thrown into her cell, unable to call anyone. They deny her that request to call someone and to get medical attention. And she says that in that moment, while she was curled on the floor of the cell, she says, I knew I needed to access something deeper and more fiery in me if I was going to face this kind of Goliath. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how to find it. How many of you have ever felt like that? Yeah. I feel powerless. I don't know what to do. I need to, what can I do? And in those moments, we go within. If we know the truth, we can tap into that truth that will sustain us and help us fight the Goliath that is before us. So anyway, a week later, after Carr's release, she was determined that she no longer wanted to live with trauma in her life. Or she recognized that. She says, I have this anger inside of me, and I want to change. I don't want this anymore. So she determined to reclaim her warrior courage. I'm going to do this. And while at the same time keeping her Sikh practice of seeing a stranger as part of her own self that she did not yet know. So the first thing that she did was, I'm going to read about it. I'm going to read about human cruelty. Why does that happen? Because she was hoping that if she understood it, that she can understand why the officer hurt her. But the more that she read, the more she realized that ache was running up and down her arm. Her hands were pain up and down her arms and her shoulders. And so she said, well, maybe, I better go see an acupuncturist. Maybe that will help me with my pain. And the acupuncturist said to her, you have to treat your own body with the same compassion as you treat others. And you know what happened? Car could not find that compassion for herself. She just couldn't. Because she convinced herself that her injuries were not as bad as others. She would say, well, my injuries fall short of all the suffering that other people are enduring. Yes, my arm hurts, my hand hurts, but my arm is not broken. Other people have broken arms. Yes, I was molested, but I wasn't really raped. Other people were raped. That's what happens for most of us. We tend to ignore and minimize the suffering that we are going through. However, if we continue to compare our suffering with others, how will we ever give ourselves the compassion that we need to be able to process what's going on within us so that we can heal and return to wholeness? One day she was attending a loving kindness workshop. It was being facilitated by a Buddhist priest. And I don't know if you've gone to any of those, but I've read a lot about them. It was really designed to cultivate the qualities of compassion for oneself. Because when we do it to ourselves, then we know how to give it to others. And ultimately, we can give it to our adversaries. So during the meditation, what happened was that the Buddhist guide says to the class, say these words: may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I be at peace. And Car's eyes filled up with tears. The first time she started to feel a little compassion towards herself. And then the guide said to her, okay, picture someone in your life that you love, someone you care about, and say those very same words. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be at peace. And she found her heart opening up and smiling. There was so much love there. And then he said, picture someone you consider as your enemy. And the first face that came to her mind was the face of the lieutenant. And instantly she felt this tightness, this panic within her. She could barely breathe. She knew she could not stay in that room, so she left quickly. She just could not bring herself to love this enemy because she had absorbed the lie that love requires us to tend to our opponent's wounds before we tend to our own. And she couldn't do it. She had not attended to her own. During that summer, Car decided to go back home and visit her family in India. And the cousin that had molested her when she was a teenager wanted to meet with her. She expected that he was going to probably apologize, and she wanted to forgive. She just wanted to get over with. I want to put this behind me. So she agrees. And when she gets there, there is a cousin with the rifle. He intended to hurt her again. And so she runs back to the house as fast as she could, trying as fast to keep herself safe. And when she finally gets to the house, she decides, I will no longer keep the secret. I will no longer keep it. And so she tells her parents, her grandfather, the family that were there, what had happened. And with the support of the parents, she calls the police. Police take him away, and she thought, okay, there's a consequence for every action. Now maybe I can free myself from the monster that was living inside of me. But unfortunately, her grandfather, whom she loved very, very much, was very angry with her. He cast her out of the family. He said, you're not part of this family anymore. Because she had broken the silence, the sacred silence. You don't talk about those things. You don't shame the family. And she had. So they cast her out. But she said that perhaps one of the greatest lessons that she learned was through that experience. She said that home is the space within us and between us where we feel safe and brave. It is not a physical space as much as it is a field of being. Isn't that beautiful? That's absolutely beautiful. Home is that space within us and between us where we feel safe. So Car knew that she was on her journey to become healed from the traumas of her life. And she sought out a man called Tommy Woon. Tommy Woon dealt with healing historical trauma. And so he believes that the healing begins in the body first, and then the brain follows. So what he did was, when trauma occurs, Carr says, when trauma occurs that we're unable to respond to, it is stored in our bodies. We feel it. Panic keeps gripping us, and the past keeps bleeding into the present. So what this person Wu did, he created an experience of an alternative narrative, something different, a safe container for her to be able to process her rage. And so he says to her, you imagine yourself in this detention center with that lieutenant, asking him to remove your handcuffs. Now imagine him, he's beginning to circle around behind you, and he stops. But you, Carr, you are transforming into something very powerful and very big. What is it that you see yourself transforming into? And she says, I'm transforming into a tiger. Because she remembered the tiger that used to be at her bed. The stuffed tiger. She transformed, fierce, strong. And Wood says, that's good, that's good. Now this tiger, go and chase this lieutenant. Capture him. And she does. She has him. And she says, you got him? She goes, yes, I got him. So what do you want to do with him? Says Wu. She says, I want to destroy him. I don't want him to have any more power over me. And so he goes, you want to destroy him? And she says that once she said that, the words that came into her mind were, no, I did not say that. I can't say that. I can't destroy someone. But he wasn't even a someone. It was the perception of that someone that had once hurt her so very badly. And so he says, do as you are being led to do, destroy it. And so in her imagination, in her mind's eye, this lion, this tiger is doing its job, and before it's done, the body is listless on the floor in her mind's imagination. And Wu says to her, so I want you now to pay attention to what is happening in your body. What's happening? And she found herself that she was breathing hard. She was breathing hard, and she was feeling, I don't know, like a rise in energy was coming to her. And she wanted to leap. And he says, because you're celebrating. Celebrate. And Carr stood up, and she stretched arms into the sky, feeling big and relieved and satisfied. Now, why did that work? She says that she repeated this exercise also with her cousin, because she wasn't destroying them. She was destroying her projection of them as monsters with infinite power over her. She was releasing the power of the memory of what had happened so that it would no longer control her choices in life. What Wu did was that he created a safe container, something safe, for Car to experience this rage and come to the realization that she was worth protecting. She was worth compassion. She was worthy of love. So we need to tend to those wounds, Car says, not by suppressing our rage or our anger, but allowing it and not allowing it to, because sometimes in men what happens is that they don't always suppress it. Sometimes they allow it, they let it spill out, unapologetically. And sometimes it goes into violence. And women too. She says men, but I think women too. And so what happens is we need to find a way to cultivate a healthy way to channel it, like I said earlier, to transform this destructive energy that is within us into life-giving energy. And one way that can be done is through the safe container that Wu prepared and created for Car. So in this safe container, we can process it without harming ourselves or harming anyone else. And that safe container can take many forms. It could be a place where you can be safe. Go to a place where you feel that you are safe. And allow yourself to yell and cry and punch something if you have to. Run, drum. Give that energy some physical release. Whatever it takes to let that emotion that has been trapped in your body to move out of you. It's like we need to experience it. We can't resolve it just by our thoughts, although our thoughts do play a role. But because when it's that intense, you need to give it expression of some form. Some people will paint. You ever seen those artists that will paint, just to get it out of their system? Whatever it is. And then, when you feel, I let it all out, then you got to recognize that anger is a secondary emotion. It's a reactionary emotion that is covering something else. And once it is released, it's common for there to be some sadness, some hurt, some grief, because it's underneath all that anger. And so the next step is to allow ourselves time to sit or even lie down and feel your way through the underlying feeling. Why was I so angry? What is it in me that I have not yet looked at? Maybe put your hand in your heart, sometimes in the stomach, wherever. Where is it that you're feeling it? This sadness, this feeling that you want to go through it. And then let it rise, let it be, whatever that may be. Don't judging it. What is rising up in you? Whatever you feel, accept it. Without rushing to condemn it. There's so many of us that say, well, I can't be weak. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be weak. I'm not going to be sadness is weakness. No, I'm not going to do that. No, allow it. Because we're on a journey to wholeness. And we can't acknowledge what we're feeling. That we repress it. And it does not do us well. The process of releasing your rage may take maybe multiple sessions. It doesn't happen overnight. But eventually you'll also be able to find, when you do the process, you eventually will find authentic forgiveness for people who have wronged you. And you may even find that you can wish them well. And then you free yourself, because forgiveness is for you. It frees you. You set yourself free. When we give our rage a safe way to express itself, then we can be in relationship with it. And we can ask the tough questions. What is beneath this anger that I'm feeling? You really want to know? You'll find out. What is beneath it? What is it telling me to do? How can I harness this energy into life-giving expressions rather than destructive ones? The questions that lead up, all of these questions will lead us full circle back to wonder. I remember a time when I was feeling, I don't know what I was feeling. I just didn't feel right with myself. Something was happening and I knew it was a situation, and I was really kind of ignoring my own feelings. And so a minister friend called and she said, "Hey, Luz, you've been on my mind. And how are you doing?" And I said, "I'm not doing too good. And I really can't pinpoint it." You ever have said that to yourself? I can't pinpoint what's wrong. I can't. Oh yeah, I kind of knew, but I didn't want to admit it. And so when she told, she said, "Tell me what's going on." So I shared with her, and I don't even know if I could even say this in here. But anyway, so she said to me, "Luz, you need to give expression to that. You feeling angry?" I said, "Yes, I am." But she says, "What are you going to do about it?" I said, "I don't know, maybe I'll journal a little bit on it." She goes, "Girl, you need to do something else. Have you punched a pillow?" I said, "No, I haven't done that." She goes, "Did you go outside and yell?" I said, "No, I haven't done that." She goes, "Have you used the F word?" I said, "Oh my God, no. No, I can never say that word, ever." She goes, "Why not?" I said, No, I can't. And we were taught, you don't curse, period. And I'm a minister. She goes, "I'm not hanging up this phone until you say that word." And do you know what happened? Like, I sat with it, I couldn't say it, but then when I did, it came from a depth inside of me that it was like a roar. Roar! I won't say the word, but you know what I'm saying. And I said it over and over and over again. And when I was done, I felt better. I really did. And I hung up the phone, and then I sat with what was really underneath that anger. And then I was able to weep. And I was able to give myself the compassion that I needed. What is it that is telling me to do? So if you're feeling angry, my friends, if that emotion ever comes up in your life, I can tell you it comes up in mine, I invite you this week to find a way to create a safe container for yourself, to process that anger, whatever that may be, without hurting yourself or hurting anyone else. Dance. Dance is another way to let it out. Whatever movement, some sort of movement to let it out from you. This is actually an act of love that you are doing for yourself. And when you can move, and then when you can move more fully to love yourself, then you will be able to authentically love others. So I pray that this has touched your heart, and that you know that you're not walking alone. We all feel these emotions. We're just learning how to process it so that we can return to wholeness and do what is ours to do, to be the expression of love that we are. Namaste.
My decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and
Okay, let me just clarify something. So, I believe the minister just gave us an assignment to make sure that we say the F word. So, she didn't really specifically say that, but she did. So, I look forward to hearing your journey with this. And sometimes it's actually nice to speak it in Pig Latin, and that way not everybody knows what you're talking about.
Oh, my.
So thank you for that assignment. So now it's the time in our service to give of our gifts, our tithes and our offering. So together with me, take your love offering in your hands, and together let's say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, and all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. And we know right here, right now, prosperity and abundance is overflowing in this sacred community and in the world. We are so abundantly blessed for all those that serve and give. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Amen. So hopefully this has been a wonderful day for you and that it will uplift you, and I look forward to listening about your journey. And now, if you would, say with me, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So before you stand up, allow Reverend Luce to give her last little closing. And look out.
Thanks, Annie. So I expect you to go out dancing, okay, whatever else you're going to do. But I like to take this opportunity at the end to remind you of some of the things that are happening in the community. Mary's class started last Wednesday, and if you're interested in joining, all the information is on the website. We have my class begins this Thursday. Those of you that have registered, I look forward to seeing you over Zoom. We have another class coming up very shortly, attitudinal healing. All kinds of stuff are happening. We have the Course in Love. And Annie, you were going to say?
I was just going to remind people that I do an insight meditation
Yes.
tomorrow from 3 to 4.
Yes.
And it's in the gratitude cafe.
Yes, inside meditation, wonderful, wonderful. So even though we are technically closed and we don't have all our congregants here with us to love, we are actively engaging in the ministry that we were called to do, to create a loving, healing community that will help to transform lives through prayer and teachings and meditation, and all the things that we do here with such great love. So before I go, turn to your neighbor. I'll meet you outside. Namaste each other. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you out there in just a moment. Namaste. Better. I did it.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide